All right, what do you know about the New York Football Giants belt to ass against Philly on primetime television with the whole nation watching? They knocked them to 4-2. I think this is the most impressive 2-4 team I've ever watched. So much swagger, so much energy. And from start to finish tonight, they dominated. They dominated the line of scrimmage. They played with more energy. They played with more physicality. And they upset the reigning Super Bowl champions. And this is what makes the NFL so special. No success is ever guaranteed. And everything, and I mean everything, is absolute cinema and entertainment. And that's why you're back on the show. We're recapping Thursday night football. Giants take it 34-17. It's JV back on the JV show. You know the drill. We're going Giants first. We're wrapping it up with Eagles. But before we get started, while you're here, go ahead, like, comment, subscribe. The support means the world. And I would like to shout out my friends over at Big Third Down Shop who have done a wonderful job this year sponsoring me, sending me a bunch of these real sick NFL hats, including this JV show one you see in all my episodes. All the hats you can view on my Instagram profile and in the link in my bio. Wherever you're following me, you can go and shop them. Go check them out. Support whatever team you love. And there's a ton more coming as the season continues. So stay tuned for that. But without further ado, ladies, gents, let's get down to football. Let's get busy. Jackson Dart, what an evening from that kid. It's crazy. Last week against the Saints, you're watching complete disaster. I don't even know what that was, what kind of football that was. That was the regular, as scheduled New York Giants falling to a way worse team than them, a game that they played like shit in. But their 2 wins this year have come against 2 top-level teams. Against the Chargers in Jackson Dart's first start, and then tonight, upsetting Philly. I mean, there is so much to root for in New York, it's insane. And like I said before the season started, at full health, they have a ton of talent, and they have a bright, bright future with all the youth they got. And really, that starts with Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart is saving Brian Daboll's job. Week after week, this guy is keeping Daboll's salary alive with the New York Giants. It's hilarious because when he went down, when he got injured tonight for a few plays, he goes into the blue tent, and you can see Daboll just scurry over to the blue tent, poke his eye in there like, Jackson, please, I need this job. I need to be paid. Like, really? Guys, Russell Wilson was on pace to get Brian Daboll fired. Seriously. I don't think we understand how much Jackson Dart means to the future and the career and the money and the salary that Brian Daboll is receiving from the New York Giants. He saved his job, and you can tell every touchdown drive, it's a handshake, it's a hug, it's a big smile. They might as well just kiss. Like, honestly, he loves them, and honestly, I don't blame him. He is saving his job, and Jackson Dart has brought so much swagger and energy and just pure excitement and entertainment so far through 3 games to this Giants franchise. Tonight, very calm and composed in the pocket. Great decision-making, protecting the ball all night long. He outplayed Philly's pass rush and their pressure all evening. Their pressure looks, the pass rush, anything they brought at him, it was dominated by Jackson Dart. They brought the heat on third down, and he stood in the pocket and delivered ball after ball, converting on third downs all night. I thought they were phenomenal tonight in that area of the game. Really, all areas of the game, but specifically third down is where they dominated. He's got excellent touch on the football, putting it in only spots the receivers can get. And this is all without Malik Neighbors and Slayton. His 2 primary downfield threats, he balled out tonight. When you look at the stats, you go over to the game, what did he throw for here? 17 of 25, nearly 200 yards, and a touchdown. No interceptions, mistake-free football. What an evening from that guy. And the thing I love about Dart, and you see it with a guy like Baker Mayfield. He's got this swagger, this cockiness, and this confidence that he plays with. He's got a chip on his shoulder that gives him the edge against his competition. And you can say, I like my Jalen Hurts prototype. I like my guy that very humble, very calm, doesn't over-celebrate, doesn't get too low, doesn't get too high. But when you're playing an intense game of football against these men that are chasing you down and it's hard fought and is very physical, when you got that competitive edge in you, that drive, that next gear that you can hit, that means a lot more than we give it credit for. And I think Jackson Dart has absolutely got that in his system as a dog on the field. He went out for a few plays tonight. That was a little bit concerning. The one negative thing I can say about the game plan and Jackson Dart tonight, not really about Jackson Dart. When he does run, it's a little bit concerning. He's extremely physical, which is great. But as a quarterback, you want that longevity. You want to be able to play a full season plus the playoffs. But when he goes out, he gets injured a little bit, comes back in the game. Please do not have him running the ball again. Keep him safe. You got the lead in your hands. You're winning the game. You're dominating. Keep him safe. We don't need design quarterback runs after he's exited the game already, putting him in harm's way. He's lowering his shoulder after he left the game. He is a dog. Believe me, super entertaining to watch. He's the future for this franchise. But keep him safe, please. Brian Daboll with the play calling. Call a few smarter plays down the stretch, please. I'm begging, because Jackson Dart's really all you got. When they subbed Russ in, that whole stadium was freaking out. The boos, that first pass, no comment. All right, no comment. Jackson Dart needs to be healthy. As for the rest of the offense tonight, I thought they did really well, considering they were missing a lot of talent, especially in the receiver room. But Cam Skattebo, what a star he's been. Despite the missing players, like I said, in the pass game, Theo Johnson came up big tonight. There were a few other guys that contributed, but Cam Skattebo's a menace. It is unbelievable that he fell so far in the draft. It's crazy to me. That hit stick on Zach Bond, my Lord. Lord have mercy, you got to be careful with that guy. When he is running full speed at you, that is a scary, scary sight. And the crazy thing about Skattebo, and this was coming out of college, you could see the physical prototype he was. The physical, hard, ground and pound runner he was. I'm shocked that teams didn't buy into that more, that they didn't see that and say, this is a guy that could dominate at the next level. I know he's a little bit short, a little bit smaller, but the lion of a heart that he's got, the fighter in him, the swagger he's got too. I mean, he's playing like a veteran out there, and he's a rookie. He's a young guy, and he's going to contribute for this Giants offense for so many more years in the future. And this is an offense that had Tyrone Trace producing at a pretty high level last year. They still got him. But man, has Skattebo taken that backfield by storm. He's been dominating these games, and he's a huge asset for them now moving forward. A phenomenal draft pick, and honestly, a phenomenal draft for the Giants this year. They go out, they land Abdul Carter, he falls in their lap. They trade up for Jackson Dart. They go get Skattebo. What a year so far it's been for the Giants. Like I said, 2-4 has never looked so good. And when I look at the Giants, I truly believe they're a very underrated team. The New York Giants are so underrated. When healthy, they could cause absolutely any team in the league a problem. They could beat any team in the NFL when they're healthy. I guarantee it. There is so much youth and swagger, and there's a lot of talent on this Giants team. Like I've mentioned, the offense was always a quarterback away from unlocking its potential, and they're getting that right now from Jackson Dart. Healthy, reminder, they got Neighbors, Slayton, Wan'Dale Robinson, Skattebo. They got ballers. That defense has been playing great football since week 2 against the Cowboys. Huge interception and a big forced fumble tonight. They're making turnovers. They're making plays. The secondary was upgraded in free agency. They brought in Paulson Adebo. They brought in Javon Holland. They got guys. They got ballers. That front seven, Brian Burns, that Spider-Man Selly. I love it. I love it. The team overall is just moving differently this year. Thibodeau, Abdul Carter, Sexy Dexy. They got players, man. Now, the offensive line, that's always been suspect, but overall as a team, they've put something special together, and I don't think they get enough credit for the team that they've assembled and the talent that they got. And like I said, they're just moving differently. They're moving with this pace that they haven't in a while. And you can hear it when the fans erupt when Jackson Dart enters the field. It's like a new wave of energy has met the New York Giants, and they're moving with swagger, with energy, with excitement, and you gotta love it. Really, the New York Giants have suffered for a while. I know they had that one playoff appearance with Daniel Jones, but outside of that, it really hasn't been anything too special. But now I think they're finding their groove. They got what I believe to be the future of the franchise with Jackson Dart, and once they get everyone back healthy, they could be a problem. And keep in mind, this is a Giants team that was slapped in the face with a terrible, horrendously hard schedule this year. If they can meet, in a year or two, a few teams that are subpar, win a few games, win a few big primetime games like they have so far this year, that could be the difference maker. We could be staring at a playoff team with the New York Giants, which is crazy to say, I know, but they got the talent, man, believe me. As for the Philadelphia Eagles tonight, this was a game you got to win. No games early on in the season are must win. They obviously all count towards your record. Obviously, when you get later on in the season, the games feel like there's a lot more pressure on them. When the playoff picture, that conversation starts floating around NFL circles. But this is a game where you are a better team than the opposition. As much as I can rave about the New York Giants, Philly as a roster, they're just a better team. They're more talented. There's more experience. They're the reigning Super Bowl champions. They brought back the majority of their core roster. They're a better team. And to get smacked like that on primetime football, it's pretty embarrassing. So where do you point the blame? Well, Philly's defense is unrecognizable without Jalen Carter and Quinyon Mitchell. They are. Without Carter and Mitchell, they are unrecognizable. Tonight, that was put on full display. Keely Ringo is not a starting DB in the league. Flat out. Can't tackle, can't cover, and he gets lazy, and he gives up on plays. Adoree Jackson is a liability, and the secondary looked like garbage tonight. The secondary is fine when it's healthy, but they are one injury away from disaster, and that's what we watched on Thursday Night Football. Zero pressure on the quarterback. They're over-pursuing Jackson Dart tonight. He ran all over them, and you have to imagine the game plan was to contain Jackson Dart. The game plan was to not let Jackson Dart escape the pocket, make things happen, make shit shake on broken plays, extending drives. And that's exactly what Jackson Dart did tonight. They are far less physical than they've been. They were far less physical than the Giants tonight. They didn't play like they wanted it. They couldn't tackle. This was a young, inexperienced group up front. So I'm not going to completely blame them. That was a lot of live reps for guys that haven't been in as a starter consistently for this Eagles team. But again, last year, this defense was a pillar, a cornerstone of this team that they could rely on. And this year, there have been some moments where the defense has come short. Now, obviously, no Jalen Carter, no Quinyon Mitchell. That hurts. But it is crazy to see the shift and really see this defense just fall apart without those two stars. You think of the roster last year. There is no Darius Slay. There is no CJ Gardner-Johnson to hold down the fort when you got Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean working on the number ones and the number twos. They don't have a veteran back there, a guy that they can rely on to hold down their own. And that's what happened. Last week, Sean Payton, you remember the 2-point conversion? He matched up his guy, one-on-one, man coverage with Keely Ringo, iced the game, 18-17, kicked a field goal, game was over. This secondary is a liability for the Eagles when it's not healthy. I think they can get by if maybe just Ringo or maybe Adoree Jackson is on the field. But when both of them are out there, when Epps went out there tonight, see you later. Quarterbacks are going to have a field day on this defense. That's got to change, and they got to put more pressure on the quarterback. I'm not counting them out, though. Vic Fangio is a great defensive coordinator. I believe in him moving forward. I think they'll figure things out. Again, they got a lot of young, inexperienced talent working for them. A lot of guys got a lot more reps than they're used to tonight. Once Jalen Carter comes back, once they get Quinyon Mitchell back, it'll be a different story. They're fine. But man, that brand of football was not the physical domination that we're used to from this Philly defense. As for the offense, what everybody's going to talk about tonight and tomorrow, Jalen Hurts. We love to talk about him. Everybody talks about him. And I'm going to keep it 100 with you. That loss is sitting on the shoulders of Jalen Hurts. I'm a Jalen Hurts believer. I don't think Jalen Hurts gets enough credit for the job that he does with Philly. He hasn't since he arrived in the NFL. He is a guy that consistently wins at all levels of the game, at all levels through his football career. He's a playmaker. He makes things happen. I love his play style. He's got a good arm. He's dynamic in the run game. He's a good quarterback. But you will have your off nights, and tonight was one of those nights. He missed Smitty earlier in the game, wide open on busted coverage from the Giants. He threw a bad timing route, which was intercepted, almost taken back for a touchdown in the red zone on a crucial drive. He had poor clock management to end the first half. There were 3 specific moments during the game where Jalen Hurts was not at his best. And that really cost the Eagles tonight. Now, we're not blaming this all on Hurts. We can't always put it on a quarterback. But it wasn't his best performance. We're going to keep it 100, like I said. We're going to praise him when he does well, and I do it a lot. I shout him out a lot. I still think he's a phenomenal quarterback. But when he doesn't play well, we got to be honest. We do. And I think from what I've seen so far this year, and really throughout his career, he is one of the best deep ball passers in the NFL. His fade, his deep ball, his go route down the field to Smitty or A.J. Brown or whoever they got out there, Saquon Barkley, on that wheel route we saw last week or a few weeks ago. He's one of the best, I would say probably top 3 or top 5 deep ball throwers of the football in the league. But his intermediate game is lacking. And sometimes that costs this offense just a little bit when you watch the game. I think the offense lacks the ability to carve a defense down the field with 15 and 20-yard gains. Crossers over the middle, digs over the middle, deep hooks over the middle. It's really difficult when the run game can't get any traction to solely rely on a deep shot to get the offense moving. And I think one area where Jalen Hurts lacks is his intermediate passing game. I think it is one of the weak spots of his game. Now, I'm not saying he can't pass over the middle, but it definitely is a hole in that offense, in that game, because for the first 5 weeks or 6 weeks of the season now, we've watched Philly's offense struggle compared to last year. And they haven't been able to bank on the O-line producing at a high level like they did last year and Saquon Barkley putting up 150 yards a game. So you turn to the pass game. Now, Jalen Hurts has had some immaculate passing performances so far this season. However, when they shut down the deep shot and when you need conversions over the middle of the field, you don't really get that from this offense. Now, maybe we'll watch the film. Maybe we'll go over it tonight and see the receivers can't separate. Maybe. But I hardly believe that's the case with guys at the level of Smitty, A.J. Brown, Jahan Dotson, who's a good number 3 option, Dallas Goedert, who he was leaning on a lot tonight. So I think if we're talking about negatives from the offense, from Jalen Hurts' game in specific, I'd like to see him work on the ball over the middle to really stretch out that defense and keep them guessing. Because right now, it's either inside go, a slant hook, or fade ball. And that's it. That's all they got in their arsenal. That's all Jalen Hurts is throwing right now. I'd like to see them move the ball around and get the ball over the middle a lot more. That's something I love about a guy like Baker's game. I think he's a phenomenal intermediate thrower. He really puts some zip on the ball, lets it fly, and can hit any area on the field. I think he excels. I think he's a far better passer than Jalen Hurts. So when I'm evaluating a game like that, it's like, yeah, he's clutch, and he can also hit every single spot on the field. Maybe Jalen Hurts can too. I'm not denying that, but I'm saying so far this year and throughout his career, the intermediate game has lacked just a little bit compared to the deep game. But again, he's dealt with how many coordinator changes in his football career, never mind the NFL. He hasn't had consistency at OC in the NFL at all. He's had a new OC every single year since he's entered the NFL with the Eagles. And this year, Kevin Patullo, he can walk his ass home. Philly is pissed off. I think where we're at right now, assessing tonight's game, Kevin Patullo gets maybe 1 or 2 more games. And that's really it. Because Philly as a fan base, as a team, as a franchise, they've experienced a lot of winning as of recent. And when you get a taste of that, you don't want to lose. And when you start losing, especially with the roster, with a team like this, you're going to make changes. The run game has completely disappeared. There is no creativity, just pound it up the middle and hope for the best. He hasn't coached a full football game yet this season. He starts slow, he can't close out games, and tonight it was just a whole lot of inconsistency. At random points, he'll get extremely conservative with his play calling. Very weird. First drive of the game tonight, Saquon Barkley, multiple big-time runs. They pull him out of the game, maybe called for a sub, whatever the situation was, and they just died. Kicked a field goal. You can't start like that. You got the momentum early. You got to punish them early, especially a team that you are better than. It feels like he forces his play calling to meet the needs of the fan base. It's weird to me. Like, why is it I must involve A.J. Brown? I must get the ball to Saquon Barkley. It should be you want to involve Saquon Barkley and A.J. Brown. There is so much damn talent on this roster. I'm not saying it's easy, but I'm saying you should want to get the ball to your stars. You should want A.J. Brown to have 8 to 10 receptions a game. You should want Jalen Hurts to have 20 pass attempts and 5 to 10 carries. You should want Saquon Barkley to have 15 to 20 carries a night. You should want Smitty to get a few deep ball opportunities. You should want the ball to be spread around to all your talent. And you should want to get it to them in creative ways. You have so much to work with in Philly. Why does it feel so forced? It should be easy. It should be laid back. It should be a plug-and-play system. Go back and watch the film from whatever they were doing to close out the year last year and go back to the basics. You start the game off extremely well. Saquon Barkley moving. Didn't do it for the rest of the night. Started getting out of your comfort zone. Started going to the pass game a lot more than you needed to. Stop leaning on Saquon Barkley. The O-line wasn't getting any push. They were getting dominated for the rest of the game after the first drive. I don't get it. And the one factor that has changed from last year, and I know the O-line is injured and they've struggled, but the OC has been switched. Kevin Patullo has a spotlight on him now. After 6 weeks, the offense can't get going. They can't put up more than 20 points. That is a problem for an offense of this caliber. The one thing that stays consistent about the Eagles week after week is the tush push. And we need to have a conversation about that right now. Because the Eagles are abusing the tush push. They are. I'm not necessarily against the play. I don't think it should have been voted against. Every team has the ability to run it in the league. Philly's just a lot better at it than every single other team in the NFL. Philly does it way better than everybody else. So I'm not saying ban the rule because of that. They should use it to their advantage, but not like this. Running it 4 times in a row sucks the life out of the game. The offsides are clear as day. It happens on every other tush push. And to flex about it on social media, then it becomes a problem. Running it 4 times in a row on the 5-yard line to get in the red zone, that becomes a problem. They are elite with the play's execution, but use it as a luxury. Use it as a luxury. Nobody but Eagles fans, and I bet you any money, some of them don't even like it, want to see it ran 10 times in a row in the red zone. Like I said, I'm not totally against the play. But if they use it like this, it will be voted out of the league. I promise you. If Philly continues to hammer home the tush push 4 to 5 times in a row, it will be voted against. I can almost guarantee it. Even Micah Parsons tonight tweeted, "This is not football. This is not football." I'm just looking at it from a logistical standpoint. If the rule was already in question and already had some traction behind it being voted out before the season started, why would you abuse it? Use it as a luxury. Use it in the points you really need it. But you're telling me on a 2nd or 3rd down, you can't be a little creative? Come on. Right? Like, it's going to be voted out. And then you're going to complain and say, oh, they're changing the rules for us. Like, use it as a luxury. That's it. That's it. Don't be stupid with it. Don't run it 5 times in a row and you will be fine. So as for the Eagles, we'll wrap up the episode talking Philly as a whole. I'm going to ask, are the Eagles in trouble yet? It's a fair question. Are the Eagles in trouble yet? You know, I wouldn't necessarily say so. I don't want to jump to conclusions. I wouldn't say sound the alarms. But this isn't good. They are not as dominant as they were last year. For sure. Like, that's a fact. They're losing battles in the trenches. D-line and O-line are getting pushed around. And that is something that they were excellent at on their Super Bowl run. So that's number one issue. The secondary doesn't have depth. They got Quignon, they got Cooper DeJean, but outside of that, it gets a little bit dicey. And when one of them goes down, it gets a little bit more than dicey. It gets really scary, like we saw tonight. The offense is stale. Barkley had a 2,000-yard rushing year last season. I don't even know if he hits 1K this year at the pace he's going. The pass game is just non-existent. If it's not a deep ball, it's absolutely nothing. It's a swing pass to the flats. Philly is still an elite team, but I wouldn't blame anyone that's concerned because I sure am. I still think they're a top 5 team in football. I still think they're extremely talented. I still think they're a hard-to-beat football team, despite the Giants putting belt to ass for 60 minutes tonight. But concerned, for sure, that's realistic. It's realistic to be concerned at this point. I think after week 2 or week 3, it's a little early, but now, week 6, you're a third of the way through the season. The offense is still doing the same shenanigans. You're 4-2. You're not in a bad spot, but you're not dominating the start of the season like a lot of people expected you to. You're not putting teams away in the first half. You're not imposing your will on teams that you are better than. And I think that's why some fans might be concerned up to this point. And you'll hear about it. They're not going to lie to you. But I think the one good thing about Philly you can always bank on, you got the talent. It's all there. It's like you got all the ingredients to make the pie. You're just having a little bit of a difficult time with the process, with the mixing of the wet and dry ingredients and how long you're baking it for and whatnot. You got all the ingredients to do it. Now it's just about cooking, baking, and assembly. That's it. Get your chef hat on, go to work. Philly will be fine. But there is some concern right now. I know I'm kind of contradicting myself there. It's concerning, but I think they'll be okay. It's week 6. Lots of time to roll. That's a wrap on Thursday Night Football Recap. Thank you so much for rocking with me. As always, if you loved the episode, go ahead, like, subscribe, comment, do your thing as you always do. And I'll catch you in the next episode. Stay safe. I appreciate it. Peace out, y'all.